For about 3 years now, the headlines has been asking the same question. Is the property crash finally coming? I want to tell you something that almost nobody in the media has noticed. It already happened. The crash is behind us, not ahead of us. It just arrived so quietly that most people never saw it. Let me show you exactly how, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. I'm Kaylee, the Yorkshire property sourcer, and I want to be really clear about what this video is and what it isn't. This isn't a doom video. It also isn't one of those everything is amazing, rush out and buy videos. I'm going to walk you through the actual data, honestly, including the bits that complicate the story. And by the end, you'll understand the property market far better than someone just reading the headlines. The big idea is this. There are two ways to measure a house price, and the gap between them is where the whole story hides. So let me explain those two ways of measuring. The first is the nominal price. That's just the number on the estate agent's board. The price in pounds. It's the one everybody quotes. The second is the real price. That's the price adjusted for inflation. What the house is actually worth once you account for the fact that the pound in your pocket buys less than it used to. Here's why that difference matters so much. Imagine a house stays at exactly £200,000 for 5 years. The number never moves. On paper, nothing happened. No crash, no boom, completely flat. But if over those same 5 years, the cost of everything else, your shopping, your fuel, your wages, rose by 20%, then that house has quietly lost a fifth of its value. The number on the board didn't move, but what it's truly worth in terms of everything else you could buy fell significantly. That's not me being clever with numbers, that's how every serious investor judges every other asset. If the stock market goes up 5% in a year, but inflation is 5%, no one says you made money, you broke even. Property is the only asset where people forget to do that maths. And when you do that maths on the last few years, the picture changes completely. Let's go through it. UK house prices peaked in normal terms in the summer of 2022. Since then, the number on the board has basically stood still. Today, the average is only fractionally higher than it was almost 4 years ago, flat. Now look at what inflation did over that same period. In late 2022, inflation hit 11%. That was the highest in over 40 years. It stayed high right through 23, and it all up, and the cost of living has risen by more than 20% since that 2022 peak. So put the two together, house prices flat, everything else up more than 20%. In real terms, that means UK house prices have fallen. And I want to be honest with you about the figure here, because this is where some people get carried away. The most careful estimates put the real terms fall at somewhere between 10 and 15% since the 2022 peak. Savills, one of the most respected names in the industry, puts it at around 10.5. Some independent analysis put it closer to 15. You'll occasionally see someone claim 20%. But honestly, I think overstates it. 10 to 15 is the fair, defensible number. But just sit with that for a second. A 10 to 15% fall in the real value of the average British home, and it happened without a single dramatic headline. No crash, no crisis, no repossessions on the news, just inflation quietly doing the cutting while the number on the board stood still. That's the silent crash. It already happened and almost nobody reported it because it doesn't look like a crash. It looks like nothing. Now, if this sounds far-fetched, it's worth knowing that it's not the first time. Go back to the years after the Second World War. For much of that period, the country had persistent high inflation, several years of it running at 7, 8, 9% and more. And through a lot of that time, house prices in cash terms rose only slowly or stood still, which means in real terms they were being eroded year after year in exactly the same quiet way before a more visible correction came through in the early 1950s. Now, I'm not going to pretend the two eras are identical because they're not. Back then, far fewer people owned their home and there were very little mortgage debt about, so the mechanics were different. I'm not drawing you an exact map, but the underlying lesson holds. Inflation is the tool that quietly resets house prices without anyone shouting crash. History has done this before. There's also a long observed rhythm to property, a roughly 18-year cycle that researchers have traced back centuries, where the main thing that ever really disrupts is a world war. I'm not here to tell you that the cycle predicts a boom tomorrow. That's not the point I'm making, and I'd be wary of anyone who claims to time it that precisely. The point is simply this: the idea that inflation hides a correction in plain sight isn't a theory, it's invented, it's written in the historical record. So here's the question that actually matters. After a reset like this, is property more affordable now or less? And this is where I have to be really careful and really honest, because there are two different ways to measure affordability and they tell slightly different stories. Anyone selling you a simple answer is leaving half of it out. The first measure is what your monthly mortgage actually costs compared to your take-home pay. And on this measure, there's generally good news. At the worst point back in 2023, a typical first-time buyer was spending around 38% of their take-home pay on their mortgage. Today, that's fallen back to around 32%. The long-run average is about 30%. So on a monthly cost basis, we're now close to normal. That squeeze has largely eased, but there's a second measure, and I won't hide it from you. That's the ratio of house prices to people's earnings. And on that measure, homes are still historically expensive. A typical first-time buyer home still costs around 5 times earnings, when the long-run average is closer to 4. So prices relative to wages are still high. Those two things are both true at the same time. Monthly affordability has improved a lot. The headline price to earnings ratio is still stretched. If someone only tells you one of those, they're selling you something. I'm telling you both so you can think clearly. And now we get to the part that for us is the whole point, because the national picture hides a huge regional divide. And the place where this reset has gone furthest, where affordability has genuinely come back to earth, is the north, Yorkshire in particular. Here's what the national headlines miss. Over the last 5 years, Yorkshire and the Humber has actually outgrown the UK as a whole in cash terms, around 29% against roughly 24% for the country. So it's not that Yorkshire is the sad left behind region, it's quietly been one of the stronger performers. But here's the crucial bit. Even after that growth, when you measure what a mortgage here costs against local earnings, Yorkshire sits slightly below its own long-run average. Read that again, below average, on the affordability measure that actually matters month to month. Our region isn't stretched, it's comfortable. This is simply not true of the country as a whole, and it's certainly not true of the south. So you put it together, nationally, a real terms correction has quietly happened. Here in Yorkshire, we get the growth and we keep the affordability. And when the most respected forecasters look at the next 5 years, they consistently put Yorkshire and the Humber among the top performing regions in the country. Ahead of London, that's the story nobody's telling. Everyone's staring at the national headline, arguing about a crash that in real terms already came and went. Meanwhile, the region with the growth, the affordability and the strongest forecast is sitting right here, quietly getting on with it. So let me leave you with this. The question everyone keeps asking is, when is the crash coming? I think that's the wrong question. In real terms, a correction already happened, softly over the last 4 years. While everyone was waiting for something dramatic, the better question is, where has the reset created the healthiest place to invest? And when you ask that better question, the answer keeps pointing to the same kind of market. Affordable, well supported by real jobs and real demand. Growing steadily rather than widely, not the frothy, overstretched south, but the quietly strong north. I'm not telling you to rush out and buy anything anywhere. That's never how we think. I'm telling you to understand what actually happened so you can stop reacting to headlines and start asking better questions. Because the people who understand this, the ones who saw the quiet reset for what it was, are the ones quietly building while everyone else waits for a crash that already passed them by. If you'd like to see exactly how we put this thinking into practice, the towns we focus on and the numbers behind them, I've put together a free investor pack and the link is in the description below. This is Kaylee, the Yorkshire Property Sourcer, helping you invest in property the right way. I'll see you in the next video.